All right, you guys, 2023, it is in full swing. As you can see by our boards behind me, we have clean boards. We're excited for this new year. Yeah, let's talk about what is going on in 2023. So, you guys, there has been a lot of talk circulating about what we can expect to see happen in 2023. And if you're watching the news, if you're reading the headlines, a lot of those clickbait headlines, the reports, they are startling to say the least and downright disheartening if you buy into everything that they're telling us. So we're going to talk about a couple of the headlines that you might be seeing flying around right now. Let's break them down. Let's talk about what they really, really mean. And let's see if we can't see how they've been misleading us and maybe shine a little sunshine on this situation. All right, you guys, I'm Katie Evans, owner and lead agent of the Living 48 real estate team. Welcome back to another one of our little videos here. Super excited to have you. If you have been watching at all, anything about the news and real estate, you know that there have been some pretty dadgum scary headlines out there. End of 2022, already starting in 2023. And I would like to take a few minutes to just shed a little light on that, maybe break them down for you, help you see where maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, maybe it's partially true. Let's talk about some of those things. So, all right, 2022 was literally the year that was defined by mortgage rates. So, we saw these record-breaking mortgage spikes that we have never seen before. Like the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate at one point was at 3.22%, and it rose all the way up to 7.8%, and maybe even higher in some areas or with some loan programs. So obviously that caused all kinds of chaos in the media and put some real strain on prospective home buyers. So let's put some of that in context for you though, okay? Historically, mortgage rates have moved almost in sync with the government borrowing rate. So that's like measured by the 10-year, we're going to get into some important things here. But that's the 10-year treasury yield. That's how we measure that. So normally there's about a 1.78% difference between the two. And right now there is actually a difference of about 6.49%. That's a lot more than normal, right? So why does that matter? Well, if we know that rates historically tend to be about 1.78%, we also know that they're going to make an attempt to get that back there. So we do know that eventually mortgage rates will have to return and have to drop to try and get us back to that equilibrium. That's been the historic, that's what we expect to see. So as we look into predictions for 2023, we can see that we're already starting to see some trending towards that. Now, keep in mind that the spike in these rates was heavily influenced also by inflation. All right. So although we know it's coming, the feds have got to ease some of that inflation. And when they do, when they get inflation under control, that's really when you're going to start to see the mortgage rates come back into that normal range. All right. So once we see that happen, that's when you're going to see the drop in the mortgage rates. Now, are we expecting to see back to some of those historic lows, low twos, low threes? Probably not. Again, remember that we are working on that delta of about 1.78% difference between our 10-year treasury yield and the mortgage rates. All right. So there's that first headline. Okay. All right. The second headline that we are talking about and that we are seeing out and about right now is the new normal. I know we've been throwing that around for a long time. Well, now it's the new normal. All right. With all the changes that we've been seeing, everybody is predicting the sky is falling, there's a crash coming, all those kind of things. So let's talk about a couple of things that has happened during this new normal and the new normal, okay? So during the pandemic, we actually saw huge shifts in both the housing and the financial markets. Part of that change included how we spent our money. Okay, we couldn't go out, we couldn't do things. All of a sudden, our credit card usage like dropped through the floor, which was great for those of us to save money and to do all that kind of stuff. But it led to a very, very low national average credit card debt. So now we're coming out of the pandemic. We're seeing people returning to their normal levels of credit card usage. And all of a sudden, the headline is skyrocketing debt. Well, what's really happening is we're going back to our normal spending habits and we're going back to our normal things. So it's really a little bit misleading and a little bit challenging. So although it is true that household debt has been increasing rapidly over the last few months, in context, we see that that's in reality, that's just us returning to our normal spending. And if you look to any of the reports, debt to income ratios, that's something that all mortgage lenders look at. We're still in historic low areas. So that's great for us. Okay, another major influence on the housing market is inflation. Okay, so even though in 2022 we saw this significant rise in inflation, that's a big part of what has led to the rising mortgage rates and the lower demand that we've just kind of experienced. We may have just bottomed out on that. We may be coming back out of that. We shall see. It's too soon to say, but it kind of has that feel to it. Okay. So as we head into 2023, the Fed is working really, really hard to try and ease inflation, which is also going to help the housing market. And it's going to help us gain that much, much needed stability. Okay. Stability will return. Then it will bring with it the buyers. The housing market, once it has adjusted to the new normal, is going to benefit from a very, very strong demographic driven demand relative to an overall, this is I'm quoting, an overall long run shortage of supply. Okay. What that means is we still don't have enough houses to sell for all of the potential buyers. So as the buyers come back, we're still not going to have enough houses, which is still going to do all that kind of stuff. So as the mortgage rates ease, as inflation comes down, the buyers start to come back out. They're going to be very, very strong buyers. There's still not going to be enough inventory. And now we're going to go back into somewhat of a more normalized market. Yay! That's exciting. All right. So let's talk about hope. There is hope. You guys, now that we've shed some light on the not so hopeless housing market and put some of those headlines into context, let's talk about what can you expect? All right, new home buyers. Yeah, I know it's scary. It's really scary. But there are some really, really great options out there, and home ownership is still very attainable. Let's talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about foreclosure numbers. All right. So if your biggest fear is I'm going to buy a house and I'm not going to be able to afford it, I want you to know that the lending standards are so different from the last time that we did this that you're not going to get there. Unless you're doing some stupid things after you close on a house, you're not going to get there. Okay. So let's talk about foreclosure numbers. This is going to kind of paint the picture for you a little bit. In 2022, there were only and then we're talking nationwide statistics here, 88,000 foreclosures versus in 2019. So that's just 3 years. There were 278,000. Okay. And if we go all the way back to 2012, there were over 1 million. All right, so even though home buying has become more expensive, you're more qualified, you are stronger, and it is more manageable for you because you've made better financial decisions. All right, so foreclosure rates are down. Changes in the market have definitely been also a concern for home owners. Okay, so home buyers, you're actually in pretty good shape. Let's talk if you're thinking about doing that. Home owners, current homeowners. Yeah, I know. All the new, there's a crash coming. There's a crash coming. There's a crash coming. Guys, there's not a crash coming. Okay. So let's talk about real data here. To begin with, yes, we know that home sales have slowed. However, you as a homeowner have more equity built up than you have ever had, ever. All right. So even with inflation, with slowing sales, with all that, we are still seeing appreciation of the value of your home. Now, granted, it's not like runaway racetrack fast like it has been for the last couple of years, but you're not really losing. depending on the market that you're in, you're not really losing, okay? So leading up to the '08 crash and all that kind of stuff, homes were depreciating in value rather than appreciating. There's one huge difference right there. Another key indicator that proves that homeowners are still in a great place going into 2023 is the amount of equity that you have in your home. All right. So the amount of tappable equity in 2021, I guess this was one number that they hit, was $9.9 trillion. All right. So even though we saw a decline in Q2 and Q3 of 2022, Q3 of 2022 still measured $10.3 trillion of tappable equity, which is $4 million more than last year and more than double the 4.9 trillion that we saw back in 2005. So while it is true that there has been a slight decline in equity, it is still historically high and has even increased since 2021. All right. So to wrap this all up, let's just do this. Headlines regarding the real estate market right now are skewed. If you have questions, please call me. Yes, we've seen some record-breaking changes in 2022, but we are far from the hopeless picture that they are painting for you, and we are definitely not going towards a repeat of 2008. If you have questions, you have needs, please give me a call. We're always here to help. See you in our next video. Bye.